Hi, I'm Bill Bradley. Join me for a recent excerpt of American Voices. When Gia Peoples saw a women's fishing team, she was struck by how much fun they seemed to be having. And so Gia called her friends, and together they formed their own fishing team. They call themselves the Ebony Anglers. A month later, they entered a tournament, and they won. They've also started a summer camp to teach kids about fishing, and they show the kids all the different nautical and fishing careers they can go into. I'm joined now by 3 of the 4 Ebony Anglers. Here with me now is Gia Peoples, Leslie Mausi, and Tiana Davis. Welcome to all of you. Great to have you on American Voices.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
So, Gia, tell us at the beginning about the day that you decided to call your friends and form a team.
It was June of 2020, COVID, during time of COVID, and things had really shut down a bit. But during that time, I think one of the things that me and my husband still enjoyed was heading down to the coast of North Carolina, near Morehead City, or in Morehead City. So we happened to be down there during the time of the Big Rock tournament, which is one of the largest competitive fishing tournaments here in the States. And as we were, peeking through the crowd and watching the boats back in, and, there was just a lot of excitement and enthusiasm happening. I noticed that 5 women kept getting off of each boat. And so another boat would back in, and 5 more women would come off, and another boat would back in, and 5 more women come off. So I turned to him and and I said, "Honey, what's happening?" And he said, "Well, in the tournament, they start the tournament with the ladies' day." And so I said, "Okay, well, how does that work?" And he said, "Well, you got to get a boat, you got to get a captain, you got to get a team together." So in my mind, I'm making a mental checklist. I'm like, "Okay, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that." And so, kind of being a former competitor, having been a college athlete, I kind of immediately jumped into action. I was like, okay, who can I call so that we can do this, so we can get in this tournament? And I had recently been with Leslie and her husband, and we actually had recently been fishing. So she immediately came to mind. I said Leslie would be a great person to join the team. I then kind of went through my mental Rolodex and I was like, okay, who else could I get? And I thought about Glenda Turner. I've known Glenda for about 30 years now, and I knew she was a very adventurous person. And I figured if I could get her to sign on, she would be in. And so I reached out to Glenda, and she said, "I'm in." And so then I said, "Well, we certainly need at least one more person." So I said, "Leslie, do you know anybody who would be interested?" So I think a day goes by, and she calls me back and she says, "Gia." And I said, "What?" She says, "I got the perfect person." And I said, "Okay, who is it?" She said, "She's a mother of 5. She's an entrepreneur. She's competitive. She plays kickball." I said, "Stop right there." And Leslie said, "What?" I said, "If she can do all that, she is the perfect person." And that kind of rounded us out nicely, and the Ebony Anglers was formed.
And that was Tiana, right?
And
Yes,
that was Tiana,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I mean, you all have busy schedules. So what is it about fishing that motivates you to carve out time to go fishing?
This is Gia. For me, it was such a respite, being an entrepreneur, being a mother of 3 sons, being a wife. I just always felt on the go. And sometimes you feel a little bit guilty, when you want to take time for yourself. But for me, not only connecting with the water and being outdoors, which was just, a passion I've always had, it kind of gave me an excuse. That's
Mhm.
where it started. It gave me an excuse to be away, take some time for myself, recharge. And that's kind of how it started. But subsequently, it's something that you fall in love with. You know, you
Mhm.
then kind of crave to be out there, just connecting, taking the space to just think through things and slow down for a moment. So that's kind of how it started for me. Mhm.
How about you, Tiana?
Yeah, so
Mhm.
um, for me, the thing that draws me to fishing is I truly believe that being out on the water is my happy place. We have these lulls in action when we're out there. And it is when there's not a fish on your line, when you're not fighting to boat a fish, there is this beautiful time that you have to reflect. We've got this amazing sisterhood that we've built. We really get to just pour into one
Mm,
another when we're out on the water in such a beautiful way.
You know, the fish is running, trying to get off the line. You know, you're reeling, you're cranking down. You can be reeling from anywhere from, 15 minutes to 3 hours. And I always say it's like a delicate
3 hours.
dance.
You've reeled for 3 hours?
Oh, yes.
Wow. For one
Yes.
fish.
Depending for one fish, you can reel for 3 hours. Yes, and, depending upon, what fish you have on the line, but yes, you definitely can. You can be at a point of exhaustion, you can be at a point where I just wanna give up, but internally, there's just something that clicks in that says, "Don't give up. I can get this fish in. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it."
For us to be at this point in our lives, becoming empty nesters, you kind of always wonder what's next, right? What's next for me at this point in my life? And so to find angling or to have angling find me at this point in my life has just opened up a brand new world. So I'm really blessed to do it.
What started out as just a fun way to kind of feed our competitive natures has turned into something that feeds so much more of us. It feeds our
Mhm,
soul, it feeds our need
mhm,
for connection.
Leslie,
mhm.
can you tell us about your father? I mean, I understand that when you were a child, he taught you how to fish. How does that motivate you now?
It definitely motivates me. What I did not realize about my dad until his funeral, I knew that he enjoyed fishing. He loved it. He would go out every month. But at his funeral, there were groups, so many groups of fishermen there. And they would come up to me and say, "Hey, I met your dad in Alabama. He formed a fishing
Hmm.
trip for us. It was amazing." And
It's
then
always
another
great to have people tell you things about your father you never knew and discover wonderful things, right?
that I never knew. I knew that he traveled to fish, but in my mind, these were just leisurely fishing trips. But after his funeral, it hit me that my father was a serious fisherman who made sure that he shared the love and the sport of fishing with other people around the country. He met boat captains. He formed relationships and would plan fishing trips for groups of people. It wasn't just for leisure, it was something that he was intentional about doing so that other people learned how to fish. And so, after knowing that, it just became a part of my drive while I'm doing this to make sure that we are intentional about sharing that love and the fundamentals of fishing with as many people, as many children, as many women as possible. I feel like that's the way I can carry his legacy.
Well, let's talk about the
Yeah.
summer camp. That's certainly carrying a legacy. That you run a
Mhm.
summer camp. How did you go about starting a summer camp for fishing?
I was a public school assistant principal, and I had noticed how my students were struggling with fighting some of the issues that they were dealing with at home, whether it be hunger, whether it be mental illnesses. And I noticed how they were coping in unhealthy ways, right? Self medicating, harming themselves. So I wanted to make sure that there was a way we could share the peace and the calm that my team and I felt while being on the water with them.
Hmm. What are the lessons you teach at summer camp?
This is
Go ahead,
Gia.
Gia.
I'll take that one. So we bring typically usually anywhere from 20, 25 to 35 children out to each camp. Have different stations. So we teach them different knot tying, different knots. So they learn how to tie knots. We teach them casting and safety. So we teach them the basics of casting and to look around and the different safety rules and regulations.
Hmm.
We teach them about conservation and stewardship. We also teach them species identification to learn what fish are in their local waters, whether it be freshwater or saltwater.
Hmm.
We also teach them the different parts of the boat. And we teach them that through hands on activities. We play different games with them, we have puzzles, and we also encourage them and teach them leadership skills.
All right. First question. Who's been fishing before? Me. Josiah, Daniel, Davis, Bailey. You've never been fishing? That's perfect. Well, today's going to be your first day. Okay? All right. So, why don't you all get up and come to me? Come to me, my little fishies. Come to me. Come to the spot yet. All right. When you cast it, that's when you release the button, okay? So, all right. Morgan. So Morgan, go ahead and press the button in. Go ahead. Press it down and release it. Yep. Did you feel that? Okay, reel it back in. That's right. You release your, hit the release button, okay, and then you pull it all the way out. You want to make
So
sure.
how does attending the summer camp, how has it opened their eyes? Any stories?
So we've had so many children who've come up to us and tell us that, not only have they never been fishing before, but never considered that they might pursue a career in marine biology or captaining a boat or, any kind of a nautical career. And this has sparked not just their interest, but their curiosity in what other jobs are out there that they could possibly, look forward to
Mm.
doing one day.
Hmm.
Um, we've had children who, after our camp is done, that are begging their parents to bring them back outside fishing. Most recently, when we were in Barbados, there was a little girl after the camp concluded. She begged her parents, please, can we just stay a little bit longer? And so the following day, we ran into them again and they said, oh, we just have to share with you that our daughter loved the camp so much. She made us stay until it got dark outside. And then when she got home that night, she wanted to sleep with her fishing rod.
Yeah.
This is Gia. I have one. Most recently at our camp that we had at Fort Pickens for our Pensacola camp during the fishing portion. And one of our young participants said that he didn't even realize that there were beaches in America. And it was just it just really struck me that how could this be? You
Hmm.
know, it still moves me to this day thinking that this young man didn't have that awareness and hadn't had the opportunity to experience being out at the beach. Um,
And you're opening his eyes in many ways.
oh my gosh, yes, like almost to the point where I can't even imagine how it has impacted him, other than the fact to know that is so much more out there in the world.
Any other that you have, any of the three of you?
This is Leslie. For me, it is the initial look of amazement that we see on the faces of the
Mm.
children when they catch their first fish,
I
right?
bet
It,
that's true.
it
I bet that's true. I can see it now.
it could be the
Yes.
smallest, tiniest fish, but when they reel that fish in and they realize that they've caught something, they are holding it up with such pride. And we take pictures of it. We make a big deal out of it too. But the stories from the parents afterward really let us know that what we're doing is meaningful because there was a parent
Mhm.
that emailed us 2 years after that said that her son continues to fish, continues to use the same rod that we gave him during our camp, and
Mm.
that she's just so surprised at how much he has taken and continues to enjoy fishing. So that's one thing that we always wanted to make sure that we do, and that is to give the children their own fishing rods with each camp. If we can just invest in that small thing, a fishing rod, you never know how far it will take them.
That's for sure.
The type of boat that we're fishing on today is called a
Fishing
pontoon.
one?
That we're riding.
Right.
It's called a pontoon. And if you take a look over there,
I saw that.
the biggest boat that you see is a pontoon. It kind of has a black canopy. All right, so that's what we're going to be riding on today, and we're going to learn water safety. We've got some boat captains who are going to come and teach us about the parts of the lake, some of the signs that you'll see on the water and what they mean. What we really want is for one of you one day to grow up and possibly get your boat captain's license, own a boat, and show other people how life can be when you're out on the water. It's very relaxing. It's a lot of fun.
Many adults often don't take up a new sport or form a team with friends or start summer camps. But you all have done those things, and it's inspiring. And for people who hear your story and who have a germ of an idea of a sport or hobby they want to take up, or a team they would like to form, but they're too busy with work and family, what advice do you have?
Oh,
This is Gia. I would say, you have to make the time. You really have to make the time. We typically prioritize things that are important to us. And I think that's a big portion of self-care. you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
turn that thought, turn that aspiration, turn that dream into a reality. And, I know it's a bit cliche and they say just put one foot in front of the other, but sometimes it's literally that easy. Just put one foot in front of the other. Just
mhm,
pick up the phone and make that phone call. Just
mhm.
ask a friend. And you'll be surprised the people that you will not only inspire, but that will support you. I mean, when I first made this phone call to Leslie, I never imagined that we would touch so many lives. I mean, through our foundation, as Leslie said, that we started, on average, we touch over 75 children a year. And as I look at it, we're just planting the next generation. We're just planting seeds for the next generation of anglers. And you never know what conversation, what moment, what word may inspire that child and what direction they may go just through this experience.
Right. Well, I can only say, Gia Peoples, Leslie Mosi, Tiana Davis, you're motivating children with your summer camps, and I think you're inspiring a lot of adults too. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so much for having us.
It's
Yes.
been a pleasure. Thank you.
I've been speaking with the fishing team, the Ebony Anglers, Gia Peoples, Leslie Mosi, and Tiana Davis. To find out more, visit us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is American Voices with Senator Bill Bradley. On Instagram, it's Bill Bradley on SiriusXM.
I went down by the fishing hole and I sat down with my fishing pole. Some grabbed my hook and they got my bait and it jerked me out in the middle of the lake. Some jumped. I got sunk, baptized on a credit. Fishing down on the muddy bank, I felt a pull and I give a big yank. I hauled out 3 old rubber boots.
Thank you for listening to American Voices here on my YouTube channel. For more interviews celebrating the goodness and creativity of the American people, click the subscribe button below.